Good morning. Sound check. Sound check. Good morning, everyone. Sound check. Thanks, Stuart. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's Monday, May 18th, 2026. Welcome. New day, fresh start. New week, fresh start, actually. Welcome to the Pitbull Traders Morning Game Plan. I'm your host, Manny. The purpose of this show is simple: live futures trading, real-time technical analysis, and actionable setups. With a focus on building real trading skills and the mindset designed to drive consistent profitability. Every morning we come in with the same goal: to build out the structure before the open, so we're operating in alignment with the day's dominant forces, not guessing, not chasing. All right, let's get after it. Let's map it out, guys. Let's see what side of the tape we're going to be on today. We're gonna start off as we do every Monday morning. We're gonna take a quick glance at our higher time frame. So let's just open up, take a look at the weekly chart, just to get an idea for how last week closed, and to see if there are any signs of any clues. Okay, so looking at last week's weekly chart print, we can easily see here that we closed with on last week closed on a doji. So does that mean that the rally is over? I wouldn't necessarily say so. Most of that selling came at the end of the week on Friday. Okay, but what is important to note is that we closed very close to where the week opened. Okay, so what does that tell us? The week opened at 74.03 and it closed at 74.18. Now, for long-term swing traders and bulls and people that came into the week seeing these prior weekly prints, right, and decided to get in, okay, we had higher highs, lower highs, higher lows, and higher highs on successive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. All right. So now, if you are late to the rally and you just got in last week, you're starting to think, well, wait a minute, did I get in too late? All right. Well, let's just keep that in the back of our mind and let's move on. The one thing that we do want to keep in our narrative from this chart is where the weekly chart closed, right? So we closed at 74.18. Okay, so the reason why that's going to be important is because, as you can see right now, we're trading 74.39, and as it stands right now, heading into the RTH session, we're already starting to eat into that selling wick or that weakness that we saw on Friday. All right, so let's just maintain that, keep that in our narrative, and let's go take a quick glance at the daily chart. Then we'll get down to the 4-hour as we do every morning. All right, so we know we had the weakness on Friday. It wasn't completely a bearish outside bar, but it did come down and test the 9-period moving average and closed right on it. It's important to note, right? Because charts are visual. As traders, we all rely on these visual chart patterns, and we can see that 9-period moving average has acted as support on multiple touches. So we just breached it in the Sunday night session, but now we're reclaiming it, and that 9-period moving average comes in at 74.41. We're currently trading 74.40. Let's see if we can reclaim it. Again, another reference to keep in our narrative. Good morning, Delphine. Good morning, Stuart. Good morning, Large Void. Thanks, guys. Thanks for helping me out. Thanks for joining us this morning. All right, let's jump into the 4-hour chart and let's get a little bit more closer to the action and see how we're going to trade this today. All right, so right away we can see here that in the overnight session, we had this weakness that continued on from Friday, okay? But now prices retraced almost the entirety of the weakness that we saw in the prior 3 prints. All right, let's just get a quick measurement of this and see where we are trading in relation to a pullback, okay, or where we might run into trouble on any type of retracement. Okay, so to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to pull out our little measurement tool, our Fibonacci retracement calculator, and we're going to draw it from highs to our most recent low. All right, and we can see here that let's just remove this, hide that curve. Okay, and we can see here quickly that half of that move is going to, half of the decline from the all-time high, which was, we know we traded here 75.40. Okay, half of that move would have us retracing into 74.58. All right, so let's just keep that in mind. As you see, the references in that 74.40 to 74.60 area are starting to stack quite a bit. We start to understand that looking at the weekly chart and where the weekly chart closed, as well as the daily moving averages. Now we're down into the 4-hour, and we can see here that area, we're getting quite a bit of references from 74.40 up to 74.60 now. All right. So coming into this morning, we can see is the hourly trend is still intact. Okay. So I don't think that there's any, it's the markets are so funny, right? Because people always, on the way up, everyone's looking for a pullback, and then saying, kind of saying, I was reading on X this morning, people are saying the market's never going to pull back. It's never going to pull back. Well, now we have a pullback. You kind of have to put your big boy pants on and decide, hey, am I bullish? Am I going to buy this? And if so, where? All right. So let's try to figure out a little bit where the market might stop. And immediately what I've done for us is I've mapped out, you see this gray rectangle here, that represents the gap that we had. Okay. So let's just remove the extended hour trading session, and we can see here, there's a big gap to be filled from back on May 5th. Okay, so that's a logical place for the market to pull back and kind of find support where, excuse me. Excuse me. Where the market might come in, pull back, and find some support, right? Kind of makes sense, right? If we're in a retracement of this really, really wicked 17-18% rally, the first place that we would want to start getting our attention up is at that gap fill, and that comes in at 7,300. So the market can easily come down here on this time frame, find support, maybe chop around a little bit, right, and then start moving higher for a retest of this gap that we see here from the all-time high into Friday. All right, so let's just keep that in mind. Remember, we have to breach 74.40 to 74.60. And now, based on a higher time frame, we also understand that, hey, 7,300, or even on the higher portion of that gap, comes in at 73.25, is an area where if price does trade down there, we could find support. All right, so let's move on to our let's dig into the 15-minute chart. Let's get a little bit more granular with it, right? Let's get into the weeds a little bit more. I love the 15-minute chart because it kind of gives us our framing for the day, right? How are we going to trade this? What side do we want to be on? When we have these big overnight moves, especially on a Sunday night gap down, things can be a little bit more interesting in terms of our technical analysis and how we want to approach the day. All right, so we're going to do, as we do every morning, we're going to start off with our 15-minute time frame. On the left-hand side, we're going to map out the most bullish argument. On the right-hand chart, we're going to map out the most bearish argument. We'll also talk about a bullish trap trade. We'll also talk about the bearish trap trade, and then we'll cover the dreaded sideways movement, which we all hope doesn't happen. I don't think there's a high probability of that for today, given the range that we've had overnight. And let's just get a quick idea for what that looks like. Okay, overnight we've had a 78-point range. Okay. All right, so let's dig into it. Let's map out the most bullish argument on the left. Okay, so coming in here, we can immediately see that overnight we had the big gap down. Okay, so say that we're opening here at the bell rings 74.41, and we get an open drive higher. So immediately what we're going to do is just above us here, we have the overnight high that's been put in at 74.53, which also it makes sense because you can see here from this distribution on Friday, right? This is the same area where price pulled up, right? When we had the initial move down. Let me see if I can get this a little bit more blown out so we can see it more clearly. Okay. So you can see here on Friday, we had the initial move down, right? And then this was our first retracement. We wicked. Buyers were trying to save it. They were trying to get prices higher, thinking about all-time highs again. Okay. And then what happened? Price just stalled out at 74.59, 50, 74.60. And then from there, it was the big sell-off into the close, profit taking, and it was lower prices all the way down into the 4 p.m. cash close and even into the Globex runoff. All right. So if we're mapping out the most bullish argument, okay, and price opens just here, 74.43, and we get an open drive higher that gets us over the overnight high, 74.53, we're going to want to see also that price can get above the 74.60, 74.50 to 74.60 area. So we're looking for price to get above here and maybe do something like this where it comes down, maybe find some support. This is again the most bullish argument, and where if this holds, overnight high holds, at that point we can start looking for long entries that get us up with taking our scales along the way, of course, and with an ultimate target of yesterday's high at 74.75, 74.80. All right, I think that makes sense. Interestingly enough, we are into value, so value area low. We'll cover that at the end. Let's cover the most bearish argument. All right, so if we're opening at 74.41 and price immediately sells off, right? We get a liquidation break. This entire move that just started about 8:30 gets liquidated. And bears reassert their control of the chart. They take over from where they left off on Friday, and we start moving lower. Okay, so if we get that liquidation break, the first thing we're going to want to do is eyes on the settlement, guys. Settlement for Friday was 74.32. Now we know, because we do this every day, that price loves to bounce at the settlement. And that's great information without us having to pay for it, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to gauge the strength of the bounce at the settlement. And if price bounces at the settlement and it bounces and it holds a support, and from 74.32, suddenly we're trading 10 points higher with strength and momentum, then we know, okay, the market doesn't have any intention of moving lower. It's dead set on moving higher, and we will start looking for entertaining long entries. But we're talking about the most bearish argument. So if we cut through the settlement, price bounces, the bounce is meek, it's tepid, and we test value area low at 74.37, and then immediately we're trading right back below the settlement. At that point, we're looking for breakdown shorts. We're looking for shorts below the settlement, short entries that get us down to, of course, taking our scales along the way, right? Let's practice some good money management. Let's make sure that we get our profit when we have it, when the market presents it. But ultimately, what we'll be doing is looking for a target of yesterday's low at 74.09 quarter, okay? So if price bounces at the settlement and the bounce is tepid, okay, it can't reclaim value area low at 74.37. At that point, we're looking for breakdown shorts to get us to yesterday's low, okay? So that kind of frames out the most bullish argument. We've also framed out the most bearish argument. Let's get into the trap trades. Some of my favorite setups come on the trap setup, so let's just go over that really quickly. Okay. Running against time here, 3 minutes. Good news is that next week, by next week, I'll be able to start about 15 minutes earlier, sorting out some scheduling changes here at the Manny household. So hang tight for that. I love spending time with you guys, so looking to spend some more time with you guys. All right, so here we go. Okay, so say we get we're going to outline the bullish trap trade. Okay, So say, let's just get this squared out. Hey, good morning, Tom. I just noticed that you're there. How are you,
Good morning. How are you?
Good, not too bad, not too bad. We're about to cover the bullish trap trade.
So
All
let
right,
me
guys. So we're opening at 74.40 and price rips higher, right? Open drive higher. Everyone's bulled up. It's looking like price is going to continue the Artemis to the moon move higher. But instead, we get above the overnight high, and instead, price being able to gain a following above the overnight high, price starts to peter out. That strength and momentum dissolves, and then we find ourselves trading back below the overnight high. Okay, so that's a re-entry into the overnight range. At that point, we're starting to say, hey, we're not going to get trapped. We went through this before the open. Manny covered it, and we're going to start entertaining short ideas that get us back into the overnight range, as well as down to the settlement that get us, of course, taking our scales along the way. And we're going to use these local highs, that high pivot, as well as the overnight high as our risk markers. Okay, let's practice some strong money management. Let's make sure that we protect those accounts, protect those evaluations, protect those funded accounts. We want to make sure that those accounts don't get blown out needlessly. Okay, so that covers the bullish trap trade. Let's talk about the bearish trap trade. I would have to say out of the 4 setups we cover every day, this is my favorite. Okay, so we're opening up at 74.40 and price, we get a liquidation break. Okay, and everybody starts to see that, okay, we've this move that happened off the open kind of petered out, and we get down by 74.09 is we want to see a reclaim of 74.09. If we reclaim 74.09 and put in a higher low, at that point, we're going to start understanding that we're in a potential trap situation. We're going to start looking for long entries that get us, of course, taking our scales along the way, that get us up to the settlement at 74.32. Yesterday's low being 74.09, there's going to be quite a bit of juice in that trade, all right? And there's a strong possibility that materializes. We'll see what we get off the open. I just want to alert you guys that the same potential setup could happen, except at the overnight low, 73.74, where we test below, maybe put in a little bit lower of a low, but ultimately we lose momentum. Bears can't gain a following, and we start moving higher. At that point, we're looking for breaks of local highs. We're looking for pullback entries with adequate risk markers. All right, guys, so that kind of covers the bearish trap trade. Sorry, Tom, I just wanted to get that out of my system because, every morning I have to get these setups out of my system. I have to stick to the process, respect the process, always trying to follow a logic chain here. Good morning, bud. How are you? Can't wait to hear what you have.
Nice weekend. How was your weekend?
Not too bad. Hey, we won another ring. So I'm going to show it to the folks to watch.
Look at that.
We won another ring. Yay. So that's all me and the team, right? Now I can take this thing off.
You know what? I'm probably going to be redundant on a couple things, but I do want to bring to your attention. You take a look at, with market profile, one of the things they do is you try to break things into a natural distribution. And if you put a distribution from Thursday to the lows this morning, and again, this is using electronic trading. This is the area that I'm going to be that I'm watching right now. This is the area. It's nice that we're back in it. Thank God, because of the announcement coming out of Iran. It helped push prices of crude down. But anyway, I think if we could get above this, I think it would be very positive for the market. I don't see it. This weekend, do a little research into this. Is now that yields have spiked both on the 10 and the 2%, 2 years treasuries. We're obviously looking at inflation. This is going to be a huge drag on the market. We talked about it last Monday about getting to yields where it's going to start getting concerning. And that was And, we're, starting to push that 4.6 level historically, or I shouldn't say historically, but over the last couple of years, that's caused a little problems with the market. So, this is a very narrow market. Rally, it's just very high tech. It's been keeping this market afloat. If you got credit, if you get continue to have credit or crude oil and credit issues, I'm going to be cautious. And one of the things I do want to talk real quick, HYG, watch that. This is the high yield corporate bond yields. If these things start breaking down, which it structurally hasn't broken out yet, but it is drifting down towards the lows. This is an impact. This is a very good indicator on which way the market's going to be going. If they're selling off high yield corporate bonds, that usually drifts through. But anyway, that's kind of my 2 cents right now. And just watching this market, hopefully we could stay in that area we highlighted from that high volume area from Thursday, Friday, or I'm sorry, for Friday. If we could stay in there, fine. If we can't, we're pulling back, and we take out the lows. We may be starting to take out further.
Check. Yeah, solid. I think you're spot on with those levels, and I think the assessment is pretty accurate. Love to always hear what you have to say. Yeah, I think that we'll see. That's you gave me something to think about for sure there. All right, guys, we opened at 74. Let's see, 74.38. Okay, we opened at 74.38.50. Hey, good morning, Sandeep. How are you? Welcome to the pit. Glad you're joining us, pal. Thanks for joining us.
Sandeep, how are you? Good morning.
All right, gang. So we're here. Let's see. Let's make sure we have SPYGATE going, our institutional trade tracker, right? Want to make sure we're alert to any institutional activity. Okay. That's what we're looking out for. We're looking out for Knox. We're looking out for Croaks. We're watching to make sure that to hear what they're saying. And already we can hear something going off there. It's a little bit tepid there. But all right, guys. So let's just take a look at the guys and gals. Sorry, not a misogynist by any means, but I just.
So it's a New York thing, though, right? Hey, guys, you don't mean sexual or gender wise. That's just a New York thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. Hey, guys.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. Yeah.
What the heck?
We have to watch this carefully here, right? Because we just remember we always watch for a bounce at that settlement, right? And we didn't really get a bounce there that anything that would tell us, hey, listen, guys, sorry. Yeah, listen, traders, get this. This is an important level. The bulls showed up. No, we didn't get any type of bounce there. I just want to make sure I get my levels down pat here. Those are 74.39 and 74.59. I'll make sure I have these on my radar for sure.
Watch the crude price. We're kind of trying to rally.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So crude is breaking. You're right, Tom. Hey, let's go, as we do every morning, guys. Let me give you just stop using that word. Let me give you a read on the internals, folks. 1.1 to 1.1 positive on the NYSE, 1.1 positive on the NASDAQ. So really just there's not much to read into that, right? It just seems like it's a standard open here. The other thing that we need to focus in on our attention is that the condition of the overnight inventory coming into about, say, almost 2 to 3 hours before the open, it was mostly short. Okay, and that a lot of that has been paired off. So it kind of removes that edge from us, but it also gives us a good piece of information in that, okay, the market did find support. There were buyers somewhere down there, and we do have the support here at 74.20, so we want to stay alert to that. That is a valid setup for me on the market blueprint. Hope you guys are following that. Good stuff on there. Last week, the market blueprint uh, got the low of the day. Uh, three times, no, yeah, three times, and one day it got the high of the day. So levels are pretty accurate there. When you combine that with the clock, it's really a powerful trading system. All right, let's get back here to Algo Central. Let's see what we have going on here. Okay, we want to make sure that we get these closed over. Let me see. I want to make sure this gets enabled. And so, yeah, Tom, what are your thoughts on this? Right, I find it so fascinating that typically, when the market the market is selling off, right? When the market is rallying, people don't believe in it, and then when they get the pullback, it becomes very hard to buy it. What do you think? And that's I'm the same way, right? Like is that recency bias? Is that short term? Is that short sightedness? What are your thoughts on that?
With the cognitive bias of traders, you kind of watch the information that you kind of agrees with your personal synopsis of what the market's doing. I get what you're saying, but you just got to watch this stuff and try to be as neutral as possible.
Right. Yep. Agreed. Yep.
I don't like that it's kind of pulled away from that high volume area. That should be attracting prices. This is roughly the 74.40 level to 74.60 level. This was, very helpful. We sold off Friday. I mean, it's a little early, but I don't like the way prices were rejected up there. If that's the case, we may start rotating down, and I just really don't want to test Friday's lows.
Yeah, that's way down there at 74.09 for the folks that are just joining us. Tom just highlighted his levels, and he's saying that he really doesn't want to see price get down there to 74.09. I'd have to agree with him. It looks like I have my stock. I have that long trade in from before the pre-market that and I will be stopped out on that if we go below this 74.22 low. Even though that's really close to my setup level, I'm willing to take it off there and just stand aside and let this play out. But if it holds, then I'm in on the move, and I'd be happy about that. Okay. Let's take a look really quickly. Okay, so here's something to pay attention to. So our internals have kind of flipped. The Nasdaq is now negative, and the Russell has kind of a pretty strong liquidation break here. So stay alert right here. I'm going to be standing fast here, making sure that I let this open play out. I did have that earlier trade that I'm still in, and I just would like to let this first half an hour play out. I don't want to get too overly aggressive on a Monday morning, right? I just, the lot of week ahead. I have a general idea for how many points I like to accrue throughout the week. And what I don't want to do is set myself back too far on a Monday morning. Okay.
In fact, I was just listening to an interview with Stanley Druckenmiller.
Oh, okay. Always interesting.
And he made an analogy, and I said, I'm going to bring that up to Manny. And he goes, one of the things he does as a money manager is try to identify when he's running hot and running cold.
Mm.
And he made the analogy of a baseball player. He goes,
Oh.
So, and I said, Manny would appreciate that.
For sure.
Batters, they get in streaks, right? And and that's what his thing was. Is when things are, I'm in the flow or in the zone. I trade differently than when I'm not.
Got it.
Yeah, we're just pulling back.
All right, so let's see what we have here. Let's go. Let's
It's
bring this
terrific.
back down. Okay, so I'm short here, and the algo has me short. Oh man, I didn't even realize it. But yeah, guys, I'm short right here at 74.30. Algorithm short. Um, yeah, just following that down now here. Let's just see. All right, all right, all right, all right. Actually, I have two trades going on right now. Auto executions here. Let me just flip this account number out and make sure that we have the right one plugged in here. All right. Okay. Yep. 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 So I'll let you guys see that. Um, they are retracing here. They are retracing on me. Oh man, I'm having some
Maybe food is just starting to get hit.
slowness here.
Watch your short trade because they were just shooting. I just watched crude just drop really quick.
Okay. Heads up, guys. Crude is dropping. Crude is dropping.
Now,
This thing is whipping around
Yeah.
pretty good here. So be careful. Okay. Be careful. Look, we're right back down again. Right back down to testing that 74.20 low.
battling headlines or something.
74.20 low here. I'm watching this carefully. This is a market blueprint setup. But yeah, it's just there. I don't want to catch a falling knife. I don't see any delta divergence just yet. No sign of this slowing down.
Yeah, there must have been some sort of headlines that are hitting.
Yeah. I'm not buying it. I'm just gonna hang tight. I just have to hang tight here. Coming down into VWAP 74.15. All right. Let's see if we get a little bit of a bounce here at the level. But it looks pretty sharp here. Let's watch. I'm watching the Russell bounce a little bit. VIX is high. Yeah, this is we should get a bounce here though. Let's see if I can buy it on the reclaim going up. I'm willing to pay up a little bit if I have to.
Yeah, I was looking at the Russell this weekend, and it's the last 20, 21 days really hasn't done anything. It's been pretty balanced. And I would, for a broader base, you definitely want to see that participating in the rally that the E-minis are going through.
For sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was really weak. It was really weird last week with on the Russell was acting really squirrely last week. It was definitely something to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now they're selling it off again. Yeah, there's crudes is flying all over the place.
Let's keep an eye on crude. Let me get a better crude look here. These levels are my responsibility to buy them. That's the way I look at it. So I'm just dialing in here to the order flow. When I map out these levels,
it's good that yields are pulling back a tad.
Yeah, it's hard. It's not gaining any traction. You see, we bounce somewhat, and then it's failing to gain any upside traction. And then with the reset of the overnight inventory, we could just be seeing a continuation of that move. But I have to, if we do get above here, all right, I just picked some up here at 24.50. See. And just as a heads up, this is the market blueprint setup. Gosh, I forgot which setup it is. Let me just get it up. But
They throwing a lot of buy orders in or sell orders?
Excuse me?
Is SPYGATE saying anything?
It just signaled right now as you were asking. Let's see. Wait, why do I have 74.20? Hang on. I have 74.20. Let me make sure this is right. Oh no. Oh yeah. Oops. Okay. All right. So guys, I have 74.20s here from the market blueprint. Long again. So I'm following my trade plan, guys. Guys and gals. I don't feel great about this one, but like I said before, this is my pre-planned setup. It's my responsibility to take these trades as I drew them out. I cannot sit around and if we're at bonding at the level, I can't let my opinion get in the way of it. I have to execute the plan like a robot as best as I can. I'm long 74, 24, 50. I'm going to now make sure that the algorithms do not trade against me. I just want to kind of shore up that risk a little bit, make sure that I'm not trading too aggressively at 20 minutes into the session. So I'm long 74, 24, 50, and I'm going to look for, I have to get my orders in here. I'm a little bit distracted with the algo. So looking for 74, 34, 50 for the first scale. Looking for 74, 34 for the first scale. Let's go, baby. Come on, get up there. Come on. You know you want to do it. Let's go.
Yeah, I want to see cool sell off for you. If we get down below the 78 area, I think we rotate down to the lows of that high volume. 90. I'm sorry, I said 76. 90. If we get below 98, we got another point and a half below that. But if we could just get down there, kind of fill that gap. This is on a regular hours on crude. I think that would definitely help the market a lot.
Hey, Tom, do you have a new mic? It sounds a little bit more. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Is it me?
No, it sounds yeah. Oh, let me see. Can you say something?
Hello?
Oh my God, that sounds so much better.
Oh, okay. I got a little slide thing I didn't.
Okay. Great. All right. So, guys, narrow miss on that scale at 74, 34, 50. Hey, welcome to the show, Asberto de Souza. Am I getting that right? Good morning. First time. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you joining us. I got the 10-point scale on the first contract. Everyone heads up. 74, 24, 50. And that is so again, it was a setup, a pre-planned setup from the market blueprint. 74, 19 to 74. Got the second scale for plus 14 points. So I'm looking to just follow this up, trail it up. Okay. Again, this is part of my trade plan, right? I have every morning I draft out my trade plan. It was a support level on my trade plan. Those of you who follow the market blueprint, you know what we're looking for here. If you're following the clock. Gosh, did I make it? I hope I didn't. Yeah. So you can see the bullish setup. Setup number one on the market blueprint was support by 74.20 to 74.24. We're long those right now. We're looking for a 20-point scale at 74.42. Yeah, 74.42. We're just going to call it 74.43. I don't like to get too granular with the points here. I like to manage it kind of loosely. Having a little bit of a stagnation here. Watch it just not go now. Come on, let's go. You know you want to. Let's go. So ultimately, what I'm looking for here, got looking for a tag of the overnight high at 74.53. Let's make sure we get that order in there. Why 74.53? Can anybody guess? Anybody guess? Anyone? Why would I be trying to scale 74.50? What do I have here? 74.52.75. It has to do with 96%. Anyone guess? All right. I can't wait anymore. I'm impatient. I had 3 lattes this morning. I'm jazzed up. I'm ready to go. Guys, so the reason why I'm looking for 74.52.75. Oh, good guess though, Sandeep. Yes. So that would signal a retest of value area high. That's an excellent guess. But no, so really the reason is because it's the overnight high is 74.53 quarter. And I know that with a 96% certainty, we are going to tag either one of those levels, right? So this is where I'm using the clock, I'm using the market blueprint, and I'm using the statistical references that I've accrued over the years, and I'm using those to my advantage, looking at a 23, 24 point trade. Let's see if we can get up to 74, 52, 75. That'll be a 30-point gain. So always nice to start the day with 2 wins.
That's
and
right.
we had the earlier long in the pre-market that went really well. So just looking for higher prices. Yep. Welcome. Osberto. Am I getting that right? Let me know. Drop a comment. Yep. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yep. All right. So if you can see my chart here on the left, I'm long the ES. On the right hand, so I'm showing 3 charts. The right hand chart is very small. It's a market profile chart. I got to have that up on the screen to get my bearings for the day. So I'm sorry if that clouds the workspace, but it's just a tool that I need. You market profile guys understand that. So gotta have a profile chart up, right, Tom? Gotta have a profile chart up.
You know, there's an area that from Tuesday, you kind of want to see. It's kind of an excess day, or you know, with candles like with a wick but you've got 1, 2. You've got this area here is very precise as far as support. The 73.65 area, 63 area, excuse me. This is usually weak when you see formations like that. Is on lows, or actually any kind of swing high or low, you want to see a little bit more of a shoot out of there. But this kind of looks like these usually get revisited, not necessarily today. So this is for the longer term, and it's just something I kind of, as a market profile guy, you kind of look at, and you just watch traders when they're that close on testing lows. It usually means retail traders, and they're usually weak. I'd rather trade with the institutions.
For sure.
So right now, to speak to, in the present, we're trading in this area that I referenced earlier. I'd like to see it get up to 74.60-ish.
Yeah, Tom, you just brought up something really interesting, because, you said you would like to trade with the institutions, right? And I think that's important. I just want to circle back to that, because a few minutes ago you asked me, hey, do you hear anything? Okay, you just got the target, guys. 30-point trade, 30-point fill on one, and that was I bought the low. I bought the 74.23 low. It's the setup. It's setup number 1 of the market blueprint. If you want to know more about that, I post it every day. It's on my X feed at Manny_trends. Oz, welcome to the team. Go check it out on X. I post them there every morning. You know that we were trading a support, right? We knew we were looking for an AM high, right? Furthermore, let's circle back to Tom's statement. Tom asked a little while ago, hey, are you seeing anything on SPYGATE? He also just mentioned about 30 seconds ago, hey, I'd rather trade with the institutions, right? Well, let's just put that all together, right, so that it makes sense. Because earlier when we were trading at the low at 74.20, Tom asked, hey, Manny, do you hear anything on SPYGATE? Now remember, guys, you get access to SPYGATE if you purchase an evaluation. It's free. So it's part of our community. But he asked, did you see anything trading SPYGATE? Okay, on SPYGATE. So 950 was when Tom asked that. 950 was when I entered, and I told Tom, yeah, we're seeing some activity. You can see the buy program go off right here from the yellow arrow. Okay, 943 there was a buy. There were 3 buy programs at 943. Another buy program at 945. Then there was a small sell program that countered it, and it just got run over. Buy program, buy program, buy program, buy program. All right. And you can hear those on the audible ticker. There it goes. Another buy program just went off. You guys are witnessing it live in real time. Okay. We just had another buy program go off 181 million. Okay. Do not trade it in a vacuum though. Okay. Do not trade it in a vacuum.
Very good point. Don't just trade exclusively off of that.
Correct.
Now, crude is starting to bounce a little bit, bounce about 50 cents off the lows.
Thanks for the heads up there, Tom. Appreciate it. Yep. Eyes on cruise. Folks.
Yeah, you got to watch this. We're all, everything is, going off the crude trade right now.
For sure. I definitely agree with you. I'm running a little laggy here, though. Running a little bit laggy. All right, so where's my next cover? Well, let's look at our structural references. We just traded the overnight high. We looked above it by 1 point, and now we've pulled back somewhat. Okay, not going to panic, not going to get in a rush here, right? We do everything in a very methodical and professional way. And what I'm looking at here is I want to first make sure I have my target. So looking at 74, 62, 50 on the next. Make sure we get that punched in here very quickly. 70. You guys can see as you can see, I don't like to over manage my trades. I don't like to macro manage them. I don't fiddle with my orders too much. There's a reason for that. I used to, about, I don't know, I would say like 2 decades ago. About 2 years ago, I was recording myself. I was actually streaming on YouTube just as a form of recording myself, right? And what I realized was I was on the playback. I realized that I was moving around my orders like without any common sense to it. And since then, I had to train on it. I had to focus on, hey, once you get your orders in, leave them in there. Don't overmanage it, because there will be a lot of times where I would get into a position, I'd get into a trade, and you know what? I would fiddle with the orders, and I'd end up screwing it up. So that's just what happened to me. So this is what works for me now.
I got fired as a hedge fund manager from a client because I did exactly that.
Really?
I was easing up allocations in front of important information like FOMC meetings. So, well, I don't want to play with the volatility. Well, one of the clients asked me, we should have been done, we should be up this much, but we're only up that. And I said, well, I just cut back. He said, that's not what that's not the product. Live and die by it is basically what they're saying. So
there you go, guys. You just heard it from an ex, fund manager, and Tom brings that level of experience to the table that he's sharing with us every Monday. Tom, every day.
I never noticed. Is that a Jets helmet behind
you? Yes, there is. Jets helmet. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a Jets fan. Pretty cool though. Look, it's actually signed. It's actually signed by Joe Namath.
For real?
Yep. I met him. I met Broadway Joe years ago. About a decade ago. But yeah, my wife is also a University of Wisconsin alum, and so she knows she doesn't know anyone that went pro, but that's why I have a Wisconsin helmet here. Okay, so I just took a 10-point trail on that on one of those contracts. So I got I think it was 10, 20. And then I just got stopped out. Wanted to protect some of the profit, not overmanage it. On this last contract, what I'm going to do is just put my stop slightly above my entry at 74.25. My stop is 74.28. If it comes down and gets me, that's fine. I was willing to hold it for higher prices. That didn't materialize, and that's okay. It's a long day, long week. Easy Money says Madison is a great town. Oh, dude, I love Madison. I love Madison, especially. It's a great drinking town.
You heard the rumors.
Great drinking town, for sure. All right, let's see what my 3,000 is there. Not a bit. So, yeah, Tom, I was more of an SEC guy myself, but then I kind of married into the Big Ten, and
So
yeah, I remember, one of the first. So both me and my wife were athletes, and so when I first met her, I told her, I said, hey, Jack knew who I liked in football, and I really didn't have being from New York City, I didn't really have a college college team, right, per se. Uh, okay, I'm just gonna get taken out of this now. So I didn't really have a college team per se, but I was really big into the SEC at the time. Okay, and so when I told her, I said, well, I kind of like the SEC, but and I knew she was from the Midwest at the time, and I said, well, I kind of like Ohio State too. They're playing really good this year. I was always just who's doing well. I was a fan of players more than teams. And I go, I kind of like Ohio State. I didn't know she was from Wisconsin. Oh my God. She almost got up and walked out. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, here goes Crude testing the highs.
Here we go, Crude. Let's go. Watch. Keep an eye on Crude. Keep an eye on that 100. Let's see. What's that local high there? Let's keep an eye on that. Yeah, it looks like about 136. Just keep an eyeball on that. Pulling back here. Really good, strong pullback here. I did add one back here. I got stopped out on one for 10 points. I held one and I added two back. So we're gonna see if I can get a little bit of a bounce here. I'm willing to take these off if we trade below 74.28. I'm just going to click close. I will just click the close button very calmly. But I think that we have, I doubt from my read on the order flow, I don't think the high of the day is in. I'm also using the execution clock to kind of frame my ideas here. And so I just want to see if we can get a little bit higher. Again, willing to take it off, willing to take a graceful exit. If we breach, let me just make sure I have that level right. Okay. What's that low? 74. If we get below 74.28, like I said, I'll just calmly click close and move on to the next setup. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens here. Okay, we just got below 74.28 with strength and momentum. So I'm going to go ahead and click the close button, stick to the process, close it out. I'm done.
That is the way, sir.
Yep. Out of that. Let's see what else I have going on here. Now let me go back and check the algorithms. I want to make sure. Oh, looks like I'm frozen here. God dang it. It looks like my platform is frozen. What the hell? All right. Hang tight, guys. I have to close down Ninja Trader.
Okay.
Ninja Trader. Yep. Thank you, Tom.
No problem, sir. No problem. No, seriously, it's kind of quiet. I mean, all in all, it's really not doing anything. Even on a daily, it's just kind of rotating back and forth. And again, everything's running off this crude.
What the hell is going on?
Yesterday was pretty much off of, or I'm sorry, Friday was pretty much trading off of yields.
Sorry.
So we got both crude and yield as negatives. But let's see if we could, how these crude prices, if we could, get below the 96.63 level, and the way it's trading today, we could definitely go down, start testing the 91 level. And that's what I'm looking at. But as you guys know, I look a lot of value area relationships. And you kind of take a look at today we're kind of below, which is good. If we could rotate up, if this area holds, we might be all right. Let me take this off for a second.
What is that level, Tom? Hang tight.
I want to look at it this way from I look at, generally speaking, I don't look at overnight sessions other than highs and lows and basically the formation of what the profile looks like. But if this area could hold, and again, we're probably looking at the 101 area. And again, this is not precise like support and resistance lines. 100.65 and 101.16. If this area, this high volume area, acts as resistance, we could possibly start rotating down. But that's how it's accepted in here. If they are accepted, we may continue to rotate higher. But we got back into this area, and let's see how it reacts. See if these guys are buyers or sellers. But it's such a driven headline-driven market right now. Yeah, but we're not backing off on the stocks that much, which is crazy. I mean, you look at all the negatives that are possibly going on right now. Read an article that Iran has got about 2 months before people start starving if we don't open that. So Iran is probably going to be a little bit more wanting to negotiate and open up the straits. And Trump definitely wants to win the midterms, and he ain't going to do it if it's continued stroke. Hey, Marlon, best partner in town, we rely on you guys to pass the word. We need to build this community. Responsible traders. Okay. Absolutely, sir.
Okay. I'm back, guys. It looks like I'm back.
It's trying to push.
Yeah. I got.
Again, if just watching again. If we could get, if that is rejected, that price level, hopefully we can start rotating down. I don't like that the value area from the last this half hour so far is above that previous. So let's watch that. If we could kind of get back into, below 100, below par, we could start rotating down. Or at least test the lows, the 99.53 level, which would be very helpful for the market if we could do that.
Hey, just to update folks, I'm back into that trade again. Except that when I thought NinjaTrader froze, what it was the algorithm had executed on the MES while I was on the ES chart, and it got me in on a different strategy. So, but I knew I had it programmed for that. I just forgot. Just a lot going on here. I'm running 1, 2, 3. Running 4 different algorithms, and I probably shouldn't do that. I've seen Marlon's post about responsible trading. That's something I take very seriously. I like to conduct myself as a professional. Feel that that's the only way I can do this appropriately. And I just I don't. When I didn't stream, I was able to manage this, and this was it required 100% focus. Now I'm trying to do both, right? I'm trying to be good at both simultaneously. It's going to be a learning curve. So I thought I had that algorithm disabled. As you can see, I have the one on the right here disabled. I have these 2 disabled because I wanted to focus on the left-hand chart. Well, I had this chart back here running, and it executed for me. So don't try this stuff at home. I mean, this is years and years and years of trying to develop this, guys. So I've been trading this way for, gosh, with everything that you see here, more than 5 years. But I've been trading completely, I think, for 17 years, 18 years. It's been really long. I know I've been full-time trading since like 2014, 2015, 2013, around that time. It was kind of like it was a great transition. It didn't go from one day to another because, as I said, I've always been a business owner. The last time I had a W-2 job was for Bloomberg, and I left them in 2008.
So I didn't know you like worked at Bloomberg.
Yep. I worked at Bloomberg. No, 2009. I worked there for 9 years.
In the city?
Yep, on Park Avenue.
Yeah.
I wore the suit every day. Coming back in. Price getting really jumpy. Let's see if there's anything coming across the feed. I'm going to check the live squawk feed. Mexico President EU. Nope, nothing there. I'm going to take some profit off here for well, it looks like I got 1 point on it. Because we're getting a little dicey up here, right? I think we're moving higher, so I don't want to get shaken out, but I'm tightening up the risk. And if this one stops out, then I'm certainly wrong. You can see how, look at these big body candles and these big body prints, right? I want to kind of let this settle out. See if I can catch another smooth move like we did earlier for the 10, 20, and further. But yeah, you can see that this goes back, heads up. So if you guys read the market blueprint this morning, if you look at the musings area, the context, that's pretty important area of the the image. Okay, and that one just highlighted, really that the gamma squeeze is done, and I says I'm expecting to continue two-way trade, right? And again, sometimes I'm even surprised at myself at the accuracy of it, but it's what I pen out when I'm kind of calm of mind, and I can really get a good idea for what I think is going to happen.
That's one of the things I kind of do a lot of research in the mornings and the evenings. I probably work roughly for every hour the market is open. I probably do about roughly 35 to 40 minutes of research for every hour. I'm here an hour before and after. And one of the things, and my whole point is, when you're trading, it's very easy to get caught up into the emotion, the excitement. And this goes into what Marlon was saying, is trading responsibly. And once you find that emotion taking over, whether it's fear or greed or whatever side you're on, you just, get out. It's not a good position, and it never works for you. Do your thinking before and after the trades. Know where you are right and wrong, and abide by those. Go through, again, put in the homework. Know where, hey, listen, I want to be long X at this price. Here's, if you are a target person or if you just manage a trade, but if you've got trailing stops or whatever, abide by them. Because I've gone through, horror stories of, you know what, it's going to come back and I'll hold it longer. It's going to come back. I'll hold it longer. It's going to come back. When I was with Lehman, I watched a guy, and he was a client, and I'll date myself. We were trading in fractions. We didn't even in the decimal system.
Wow. Yeah.
He owned a stock. It was in the oil sector, and he was 3/8 of a point away. And he says, I want to get out at that level. And I said, why don't you get out now? No. Well, that cost him $100,000.
Wow.
Roughly. Because it just kept falling. No. I said, just get out. And he just wouldn't listen to me.
Okay.
3/8 of a point cost him so much money. And that happens so often. And it's happened to me too. It's going to come back. It's going to go up a little bit. What's the purpose of what we're trying to do? You're trying to do some analysis, get some money, and make this profitable and consistent. And, when things aren't feeling well, it's time to get out. You're starting to feel antsy. It's always a relief. Take the loss. Go get take a walk, whatever, come back. It's a different screen. Take it.
Yep, I agree. It's and that's I think the deeper question there is, did he learn his lesson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you learn his lesson, I mean, if you learn your lessons in the market, I mean, this doesn't have to be hard. And I tell myself that all the time. If I feel like I'm stressed, if I'm working too hard, or it just seems like it's there's friction, I've learned now to I'm going to step away. This is, the best days are the easy days. If I feel friction, then I know that I'm not doing it right. I know I'm probably not seeing it well. Have a plan, stick to your plan. Any plan is better than no plan.
Yeah.
Even a simple one that you jot down on the back of a napkin that says, hey, this is what I'm, if this instrument trades here, I'll buy it, and then I'm going to risk X, and I'm looking for this much. Write down, take a voice memo, whatever the case might be, and then stick to it and try to do that. See, I'm coaching a trader now, and we've been working on that for about 4 weeks, just really gauging his execution, not on his P&L, but on his ability to stick to literally 3 rules. That is it. If he operates within those 3 rules, and there's a lot of room for him to operate within those 3 rules, but it has to be within the context of those 3 rules. Okay. And then, so those are 3, you have 3 trade rules, and then 3, what we call behavioral rules, which are just simply, hey, I'm not going to trade, between, for him, he's not going to trade between 12 and 130. Okay. Stick to that. And so we have his results before we made these structural changes. And now over the last 4 weeks, I mean, so the P&L hasn't been that much better, but we're going to get to strategy. But what has become a lot better? His clarity of mind, his ability to read price and understand what he wants to execute. And that's been my point with the people I coach, is to get them to that point where, hey, you're operating like a professional. You're not trading back on your heels all day. You're not defensively or reacting emotionally. That's a tough road. Let's come in with a plan. Let's execute it well to the best of our ability.
Yeah. Even if it's, like I said, you kind of have to learn. It's a learning curve, no matter what.
For sure.
And you have to learn that of identifying, again, as we were talking about, is running hot and cold. It's as traders, that's what happens. We're kind of in the zone, and then we're out of the zone, and it's how much money you're making when you're hot, and how much money you're losing when you're cold. That's kind of the difference
I like that.
A good trader and a bad trader, because we all have our streaks of. But if I'm only losing a small amount when I'm cold, when things go good, that's when you start. That's when you make the money, and that's realizing what the game is. I heard it one. I'll share one definition with you.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Talking with a trader friend of mine. He's a day trader, and we were talking about what's the best time, or when do you know how to manage a trade when you're making a lot of money in one trade? And he says he always gets when he gets the feeling of calling his wife on how much money he's making in a trade, that's when he gets out, because that's always when it turns. So with that in mind, you have to do your thinking when you're unemotional, when prices are moving against you. It's very difficult. You start thinking, you start overthinking. Have your sets, just follow them blindly. Even if they're wrong at first, you'll start, as you said, having a plan is better than not having a plan. And trying to get as much emotion away from you when you're trading is huge, especially for neophyte traders. And that's what you want to do, is if you could get as you go through, and I've mentioned it and I'll mention it again, your scenarios in the beginning, the beginning of the cast is great. You have to do that. That is, pat yourself on the back. For every new trader, that's what they have to do. If this happens, what are the scenarios that are possibly going to happen? So you're ahead of the game.
Oh yeah,
and that's what you want. You know what? Well, I thought of this. Here's my plan.
And even think about it from a competitive standpoint. I think the ES is probably one of the more liquid contracts traded every day, and it's very competitive. There are literally billions of dollars at stake here, and if you're going about it, just like in a haphazard approach, if you have a haphazard approach to it, I mean, let's be realistic about what the probabilities are for success, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to find out what everybody find out. This literally one of the ways I went about it was I looked at what other people were doing, and I said, okay, well, I know that a lot of traders fail, right? And I know that I don't want to be one of those guys, one of those traders, and I just did the opposite. And I still carry that kind of like those ethos till today, like, right? So even when I'm analyzing, I'm like, okay, if everybody's bullish, I know that mostly everybody's wrong.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is right.
Yeah.
Look at, tech is down today. I didn't notice that. XOK.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
down. That's something important. That's something important to watch out for.
Yeah, industrials and utilities, but everything else is up.
Man, this A4
they're down marginally.
This A4 is crushing it. It's like it got me long on the right hand chart. It's got me going 4 times. It's been taking these little scales out. It's just giving me that pocket money that I love so much. It's awesome. All right, back. Let's go. We're moving higher. Come on, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm going to have to get out early today. I have a meeting.
Okay.
Couple minutes at the bottom of the hour, sir. So I apologize for bailing out on you.
Nope, no worries. I understand. I appreciate. I'll take what I can get. Yep. No, I totally get it. Look, I mean, everybody's got their things to do, right? So we have to make sure that we handle our responsibilities first. And like as I said, I appreciate what I can get.
Well, any one comment is this, you know what? And as far as football or any sports, there's always a negotiation. Everybody's always there. There's an argument on who's the best, who was the best quarterback, who is best. There is no argument who was the coolest quarterback ever. And that was Joe Namath.
Oh, Broadway Joe. So that's literally why I'm a fan of the Jets, is because my dad was a Joe Namath fan. So
everybody was a Joe.
Broadway Joe, right?
He was just too cool.
Yeah.
Too cool. But anyway, guys, thank you very much. I hope I brought a little bit of value to your time. I appreciate it. And Manny, thank you very much. I appreciate
thank you, Tom. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for sharing your insight. Thanks for the heads up on XLK. Always appreciate the time, and we'll see you as the week evolves.
Absolutely. I'll be there this afternoon at 2 o'clock Eastern time.
Sweet.
All right. Bye-bye. Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Hey, so heads up here, right? So did we? Okay, we did tag it. All right. I thought that could have been a pretty sweet setup. We're struggling here, though. We're definitely struggling on the long side. We have to start tightening up. We're in the window. We're in that time window. I was writing it out this morning, and I said, we're going to see two-way trade, and that's exactly what we're seeing, except it's just really choppy. It's really, really choppy. We've, prices jumping around here, but just not really going anywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and close out that long trade if we trade below what was yesterday's volume point of control. I have to give it a structural reference. I can't just close it willy-nilly unless I said I was going to do that. But we're starting to eat into this buying tail on the 15-minute. Let's see. We could get a reversal right here. Let's see. Hang tight. Okay, yep. We're going to a little bit of reversal. Let's go. Let's move higher. Let's move higher. Not looking to add. I'm just going to look. Stay with what I have here. Stay with what I have. It's just so choppy. Um, and I have a 1140 is a time window, Delphine. Yes, it is. Well done. Way to use the tool. One thing that um I can tell you where is hang on, let me I want to I haven't looked at the weighted AD. That's important. Hang tight. Let me see. It's loading the data here. Oh man. Yeah, weighted AD is positive. This is a really busy chart here. Really busy chart. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close that out at yesterday's point of control, 74.3250. I want to stand aside. I'm going to stand aside for about half an hour, 40 minutes, unless we get some type of, let's see, what would get me back active again? Let me just fix this. Okay. So now we're coming back down. We're eating up into this tail, into the 15-minute tail, the buying tail that we formed at 10 a.m. Eastern time. We came down, we tested the settlement, and as we do always, we bounced at the settlement, right? So maybe don't close it out just yet. Maybe just wait, see if we can get up there and form that AM high, but it's so choppy. What do you guys got going on? What are you, bullish, bearish? Let me know what you're trading. Let me know how you see it. Yeah, you got to just exit it out. I'm just going to stand aside. On what a large void says, bear under cluster of SMAs, bull on break above. What time frame? 5 and 15. Okay, good to know. Trading right at the settlement, 74.32 quarter. And 30. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I think we're gonna. I think so. At this point, let me make sure that these are off. Disabled. Make sure that this one's off. Okay. And then I want to. This one, I want to change up a little bit. Yeah, so what we're seeing here is an inability to gain any traction. So definitely a character change, right? And I wrote about that in last week. I told you guys on Friday. I said I'm expecting some weakness into Monday, Tuesday, maybe into Wednesday. I'm expecting some weakness, and that's kind of materializing here. But more importantly, what we need to be mindful of here is the shift in tone, right? So you can see by prices trying to drive higher, and they're unable to gain a following, right? So we tried those longs on many attempts. We got 20, 10, 20 points out of some trades, but then what? It's petered out right where we're supposed to gain some traction, where the bulls have been gaining a following above overnight high, above yesterday's high. That's not happening now. Okay, so we have to stay on our toes for these shifts in content, in context. All right. even lower now. All right, so we probably have to start considering that the AM high is in. Yep, we're selling. We got down back below. Makes sense. Okay. No harm, no foul. All right, so we know what we have to look for here. Right, we've got the bullish trap trade scenario going on. So now we're using the settlement as our risk marker. Value area high 74.32 to 74.38 become our risk markers. Anything above there on any short trade, you're wrong. We're wrong. I'll be trading it right alongside you guys. Nice break. This thing is moving really slow. Be my ninja trader. Dang, I don't know what's up with this. This thing is like not okay. There it is. Okay. Big liquidation break, so that weakness continues. Looks like we're getting a little bit of a bounce there on large voids. 200 SMA on a 5-minute. Good call there. Large void. Anna, you short the Dow? Let's see what that's looking like for you. I think I would think that the shorts are working right now. I don't have the Dow up. Let me take a look. It looks like it's the strongest of the three. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Anna. Hang in there. Maybe it'll start following through with the rest of these puppies. All right, we retagged again yesterday's low, and we bounced. We bounced off of that SMA level. Like 74.26 may act as resistance here. Looks like crude is bouncing in unison. The crude is moving higher, so it kind of makes sense, right? Is what we're seeing. Ah, okay. Oh, got it, Anna. Okay. Anna asks, do you have a view on market action around the time of European close at all? So it depends on where we are trading at that point. Typically, so I'm pretty sure that the European close is in about, I think it's about an hour, if I'm correct, and we typically see a volume spike into that area, into that time. But today, I would just think that it'd be just, if the European session close is a counter trend move to the price action that we're seeing, then I would think that that would be momentary, and that we would then continue on the previous move, or a completion of what we were doing prior to that. But we were unable, if you were following along, Anna, earlier, we were unable to get back into and maintain, I find, acceptance within yesterday's value area, which is above 74.40, and now we've just moved lower. So I would think that we probably, we can, it's tricky, because our internals are mixed, and that's typically a sign for price action to be choppy, and there to be two-way trade. So I'm not sure we're going to see much of a directional move here for the rest of the day. We have a 50-point range at this point, and we could just chop around for a little bit, maybe make a marginal new high or a marginal new low. But gun to my head, I think the next move is lower, at least for a short while. Okay, yeah, Delphine confirms it's 1 hour until the European close. Yeah, Anna points out European close is often an interesting time. Sometimes it can reverse and maintain it and simply continue. Yeah, indeed. It's hard to say either which way, one way or another, but there's definitely a spike in volatility at the European close. But there could be, I mean, it's tough to read here. It's tough. We've got quite a bit of a range. And when you couple that range with the overnight move, the mixed internals, maybe we trade a little bit lower, carve out a low and then move a little bit high. I know that's really ambiguous, right? But trade a little bit lower, then trade a little bit higher. Okay, thanks, Manny. But let me go back to the market blueprint. I mean, we could trade down to as low as like 73.39, I think. That would be massive. That would be a massive move. What is going on here? Oops. See daisy. Okay. What are you guys more accustomed to trading? Tick charts or time charts? Yep, I agree with that assessment, Delphine. That is spot on. Those 1 second, a 1 second chart, Tom, large void. I think that I used to watch it. I haven't watched in a while, but I used to watch a 30-second chart for the volume, so I can really focus in on the volume. Watch the volume spikes on like a 30-second chart, like less than a 1 minute, so I can see. You can see the literally the amount of contracts that are coming through at that point. It's really gives you a really detailed look. Anna asked, "How long have you been trading? Your dialogue chatting with your friends earlier was so interesting." Anna, I've been trading futures for over 15 years, about 17. Let's see. Yep, about 17 years, since about 2010. Large Void says, I have a volume scanner that makes an audio alert at less than 8 times regular volume on a 1 minute candle. Oh, that's interesting. I like that. Yeah. What about you, Anna? How long have you been trading? see what we have in Algoville. This one is disabled. We're getting just that. We're just going to get that follow through down. Um, got some shorts on here at 74.18. Let's just go put in a stop up there. If we can't get any follow through, one out. How long have you been trading, Anna? This is interesting. If there's been a flip in the weighted AD. Not really. Oh yeah, for sure. It has. Let me see if I can show it on a more clear chart. This was kind of, I know it's very, very hard to see anything there. Let's see. So our weighted AD. Okay, let's take a look at our sector bubbles and give a read on the internals. Right, you can see right here on this histogram, right here in this lower corner, we are moving. We went from positive. Let me highlight that. So our internal started off positive on the day, and now they're moving more towards the negative side. That's an interesting flip because the AD up here is just, it's still positive. So we have to stay alert here. Big spike right back up. Look at the thing so choppy. We just went down to the overnight to yesterday's low and bounced, folks. So yeah, just watch this. Just be careful out here. Unable down there. I'm out. Oh, thanks, Anna. Yep, Jeffrey's a smart guy. Very, very good trader. Nope, no worries. No worries. Yeah, me. Well, yeah. I went full time in about 2014, 2015. Again, it's a great area for me, but I know by 2010 I was very committed. And I had a lot of bad habits, a lot. I mean, I still do have some bad habits. I mean, I'm not where I'd like to be. There's always I feel that there's always room for improvement. I think with as traders, I think that that's kind of part of it. I think it's part of what we do is just the constant quest for improvement. Coming right back up again to test that 26, 27 area. So there's here. Yep, there's our private community chat. And hang on, I'll get it posted for you in just a few moments. Let me just watch this here. Maybe if we get a pull up right back to the settlement, that gets me. So a short entry. It's tough, right? Because we weren't able to gain any traction below yesterday's low, but a short entry near the settlement has me really close to my exit point, which is 74.37 to 74. Let's just call it 74.37, 74.40. So the settlement is 74.32. See if we get up there. What I don't like is that we've wicked now twice. Yeah, follow that, manage that trade really well. Make sure you keep that risk tight. Don't over manage it though. Yeah, we never really got up there. Looking for that fair value gap close of like 74.30, 74.32. If we get up there, maybe I'll try it. Tomorrow's VIX expiration, May 19th. Yeah, it's let's see, VIX is up a quarter percentage, but oil's been up $2 now since we last called it. We thought we were looking at that local pivot at 100 $100.36. It's now trading 102.10. And we're just balancing out here, see if we see what happens. We all know how much the ES loves to squeeze. So are we going to see a continuation of that? I don't know. Maybe we go down, we flush the low. Let's see. Oz says it was the same with me, with only seeing my chat. Once I got verified by YouTube, got to see the thread. Okay, cool. Thanks. And for Oz and the folks and the folks checking and the people checking in on YouTube and on socials, we're currently in the process of, we're going to integrate our private community with YouTube for the live stream portion of our show. So look out for that. That's going to be happening very soon. And then we'll have our institutional trade tracker, the SPYGATE, all of that stuff will be a part. Will be available. Excuse my distraction. I'm just trying to check, make sure. Okay, I do have SPYGATE going here. I want to make sure that that's up. Okay. I think we're going to squeeze, guys. At some point. I think it's what ES does. Not from here though. We're just trading right in the center of the overnight range. I mean, we've looked above the overnight high by like a few ticks, right? So bulls unable to gain a following, and bears cannot press lows, right? Let's see if we can continue on the selling from Friday. As a bear, though, you have to kind of be emboldened, right? Looking at it from the move from Friday, I mean, if you got short, if you're short from the Thursday, and you held and you're holding, I mean, you're probably trailing it above Friday's high, and you're probably thinking, okay, let's see what I can get out of this. Makes sense. If you're a bull, you're probably waiting for that gap fill at 73.25 to 7,300 to add to your trade or to take a new position. My name's Manny. Manny, Anna, Manny. Yep. No worries. So just following along here, I'm not doing much. I have the algorithms for the most part disabled here. Just got an alert, but like I said, we're very choppy. We're right inside the overnight range. With price, printing these large candle prints, and then really not going anywhere. We're below the settlement, but above yesterday's low. That range is about 20 points. Sorry, it's about 21 points, 23 points. And I just the risk reward here on a directional bet is pretty poor. You can make equal arguments. Anna says muscle memory can be dangerous. It's been by the dip for the last 6 weeks. Yeah, yep, it's worked out really well. We've been trading on the long side, and it's been the easier trade. And now that's over. All good things come to an end. No harm, no foul, right? And personally, so Anna, you were just saying, right? We were just talking about it, right? Uh-oh. You heard, guys, you hear the croak? There's a huge sell program going off. Huge sell program. Stay alert here. Stay alert. Watch it. Hands off the mouse. Let this thing play out. A big multiple sell programs. Simultaneous. You guys heard it here live. Let's see what it looked like. Let's see. Yep. 8 sell programs went off just there. 8 sell programs. Let's see if the Bears can gain some traction here on this move. Uh-oh. Yep. We're spiking down, guys. You hear it. Again, the SPYGATE tool that you're hearing there is available if you trade your evaluation with us. All right, we're moving lower, guys. You heard it, right? I don't have to point it out multiple times. You guys heard it. Heard the SPYGATE. You heard the croaks. I mean, you heard all of the sell program. They just dropped 8 sell programs in a row. Boom, 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 and all of a sudden, we are, what, 20 ES points lower? No, 10 ES points lower. Let's see if they can gain a following, though, right? Structure doesn't change until we get below 74.09. We need to get Bears to feel emboldened. They need to get below 74.09. Okay, if they can get below 74.09 and start to work their way down to 73.75, I mean, they're going to be able to trigger some of the stops that have built up in this distribution. This overnight, all of these overnight longs that were in here are right so far. But if we can get a move lower, if price breaks and we start getting into it, it should trigger some forcing action, and then we could get a momentous move down below 73.75, and maybe even potentially to the market blueprint level down at 73.40. All right, let's see. Let's watch this closely here and see how it manifests. Again, I am flat. I don't have any algorithm trades on. I don't have any auto X trades on. I am sidelined. Like I said, I'm just not an easy read here while we're trading in between the settlement and 74.09. So I prefer to just practice some discipline and sit this one out. Again, I only need one good trade, and I can stalk that when there's a clearer read, and there's always a clear read on the day. The question is that clear read going to be a trade that makes up for a loss, or is that trade going to be one that pads the account, that adds to your gains? I'd rather it be the latter, obviously. But 74.09 continues to be an area of contention, continues to be an area that's being defended by bulls. And that is that's Friday's low. Apologies. Friday's low. If we get below there with strength and momentum, we could see a good move down lower. And let's just check. Hopefully Anna's getting some traction on hers. Yep, Anna, you're looking good. Yep, news driven. Hi, Oz asked Manny, which prop firm do you use? I've used them all, but I'm trading Pitbull Traders. Pitbull Traders. Go to pitbulltraders.com. That's and just a disclaimer, that's our proprietary prop firm. We just opened up, just getting underway. And Anna, let me get back to Anna's comment. News driven. Iran saying U.S. offer insufficient. Okay, thanks for the heads up, Anna. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate the color there. All right, so last week it was bad news, buy the dip, right? This week is bad news, sell it. That just goes to show you that the markets are liquidity driven. They don't care about the news. We were making this move lower before the news happened. I just wrote a piece for that. I just wrote an article for the opening print on Mr. Top Step. And that's the title. It'll be up on my X feed at Manny_trends on X. Check it out there. There's a streamlined version on my X feed. Do me a favor, if you come across it, drop a like, comment. I'm trying to build up my socials following. Delphine says, Manny, this sell-off is perfectly in line with your timing window. It's magic, Delphine. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be facetious. The reason why I'm laughing is because it's you'll see that happen over and over again. I laugh because I've stopped trying to figure it out. It works. Yeah. So we're looking for the next pivot. Let's see when that comes in. If you guys went to the X feed, then you know what it is. Go to @Manny_trends. Smash the like button if you like it. But yeah, Delphine, we're almost into the window, right? We're almost into 0.2 window. So hang tight if you're short. Manage your trade accordingly. Again, I'm flat. I had two really good earlier trades on the long side, and I really didn't have a clear read here. I thought 74.26 would act as resistance. It did. We're selling off. I chose not to sell it. I just felt like I was trading too much. I had a couple of stop outs, like minor stop outs. I'm not even sure what they were. Trades that didn't work, I just could close. Yeah, you see, look, but again, another bounce at 74.09, right? We traded as low as on this candle. We just traded low 74.10, and then another bounce. I mean, obviously somebody's home down there. Somebody's trying to keep this thing in range. They're trying to keep it above 74, above Friday's low. We keep going down there. We keep testing it. We keep bouncing. Mr. J Upton, my X handle is at Manny underscore trends. Hang on a second. It's right there on the feed. It just came across. Hardwin, there is so much. Anna says, Hardwin, there is so much carefully curated news by Trump personally and his administration calculated to move the markets where they want. I'm no conspiracy theory, but it makes it hard. For sure. Anna, I mean, there's no secret about it, right? He's trying to keep the market propped up. I think it was working really well at the beginning, and I think it's starting to work less and less. I think it's starting to work less and less. I think we can all see that. But we all know too that what the Fed trades the market, right? The U.S. Federal Reserve trades the market on FOMC day. We all know that. Do you? I mean, oil should probably be at $200 if it was a true free open market. And I fully believe that they're keeping the market propped up. They're keeping the market propped up, guys. I mean, make no mistake, right? They're definitely all right. We're back down below 74.09. Heads up. I fully believe that the powers that be. I mean, look how much is riding on it, right? Trillions of dollars. Do you think that they're not going to throw, a couple of, 100 million at it to defend a couple of trillion? I mean, it just makes good business sense. It just makes sense. And you're talking about we're talking about folks, people, the powers that be. I mean, these are unlimited accounts, right? It's like how much. It's not like us that we're trading with a stop loss. These people, their biggest problem is they don't want to move the market. They don't. They need to act clandestinely in the market, not show their hand, so they can't come in and sell and take profit when they want to. That's probably their biggest problem, is that they can't sell, they can't take profit fast enough. They have to phase out of it and take profits. And who are they going to sell to at that point? Not everybody can win. You figure it out. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I just have a pretty good understanding of 101, business 101. Moving down, Delphine. We're moving down. We're not even. We're not. We're coming into the window now. Oh man, it was a long weekend. We had a baseball tournament. We had another win. Got another ring. Pretty happy about that. Anna says, was going to say retail loses. Manny, do you classify yourself as a retail trader, or is there a category you and Jeffrey would be in? Yeah, no, good question, Anna. For sure, great question. And we are retail traders. I am a 100% a retail trader. So is Jeffrey. Um, I worked at Bloomberg for about 10 years, and there I was able to interact with institutional traders, and institutional traders are trading accounts for Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs. That's what would be considered institutional. Now, even to a certain degree, even some hedge funds are considered retail traders in those circles. Some, if I recall reading something that said, if your hedge fund was under $10 million, you were considered retail. Correct, Delphine. The window was 11:40 to 12:50. Correct. Eastern time. Yep. EST. Yeah. So I hope that answers that, Anna. For sure, we would definitely. I definitely consider myself retail traders. Yep. Yep. Getting this move lower. I better start thinking about where my next trade is. You're welcome, Anna. Thanks for the question. I appreciate it. Love to interact with you. Good stuff. Just a little color on it. We had been putting together pit bull traders for about a year now, and we only wanted to do it if we could add value, if we could also trade our own accounts, if we could help other people. And so we debated that for a long time. I mean, that was pretty much a topic of conversation for about a couple of months. It's like, if we can't help other people get past that learning curve, if we can't help them make money, and I thought that it was too simple. Like, it was too simple a goal to help someone just make money on one day, right? So anybody can put on a good trade. It happens all the time, but it's the roller coaster, the up and the down that a lot of novice retail traders go through. And so the idea had to become, okay, can we help those folks become consistently profitable over time? Because that's where you start to be able to make a career out of this, the way I have, the way Tom has, the way Jeffrey has, the way other traders in our orbit have. And that has become the main focus, being able to, yeah, thanks us. And that has been the goal, is not just simply to have someone make money on one day, but hey, how do you make money over the course of 6 months, 7 months, a year, and then develop that process, develop the mindset to be able to make a sustained career out of this. And so that's why we started Pitbull Traders with the funding. Look, there are a lot of other prop firms out there that that in our opinion, are a bit nefarious, right? So they'll hand you funding. They'll give you a simple test, right? They'll give you a test and says, "Hey, make $3,000 here. You can trade 10 contracts," which is, of course, it's easy, right? You just have to get lucky. But then they're collecting reset fees along the way, and they're never teaching anything. They're never showing, you're never developing skill. You're never developing your process. And so that's where we feel that we are different. We're trying to help traders develop over time. We're trying to give them the funding, give them the tools, give them the community, most importantly, the community, to achieve those goals. And so, yeah, we're not for everyone. We're not, there are a lot of other streamers out there that are just, putting on shows and kind of, affiliate fees and all of that jazz. That's not what we're doing. We're hoping to add some value to other traders. And of course, obviously we need to sustain the operation and be rewarded for that. Obviously, I am not going to be disingenuous and say that we're not going to make any money on it. No, but the ethos are different. Our approach is different. Our reasons, our why is different. I hope that makes sense to you. I hope that. Yep. Thank you, Oz. Appreciate it. Getting more sell programs here, guys. I hope you heard the croaks. More sell programs. It's 11:18, folks, and my leg is bouncing. I have to go use the restroom. If you would be so kind as to give me a few minute break, I'll be right back. Just give me. I'm going to, for the new folks checking on socials today. Here, just watch this video. It's going to give you a little bit more insight on the exit. Wait, let's see. Is that right? Let's see. No, hang on. Hang tight. Let me just get the proper one uploaded. That'll just take a second. Moving lower. Let's go. I'm rooting for it like I'm short or something, which I'm not.
All right. If you're a trader,
Well, that's not it. Hang tight. I'm gonna make sure I get the right video in here loaded for you guys, for everyone watching. Okay. We are moving lower here. And if you're just joining us, we're tracking the ES. I'm Manny from Pitbull Traders. We're tracking the ES. We're looking at price is moving lower, obviously, and we were watching 74.09, which was the level that the bulls kept showing up, kept defending, and now we're below it. Let's see if they try to reclaim it here, or if it acts as resistance on the retest. Come on. Okay, it's acting as resistance thus far. Let's see if it rolls over. And if we trade lower prices, our downside targets are 73.90, and then we have the bigger support down from the market blueprint down at let's just make sure we get this right, 73.59. 73.59 and 73.40 below here. But we've got to really crack through 73, actually 73.84. All right. I'm going to use the restroom.
all right.
Watch this video
If you're a
really
trader,
quickly. If
you
you're
know
joining
this
us on
feeling.
socials, if
You're
you
staring
guys
at
are
the
in the
chart,
pit,
you see
just,
the
hang
move,
tight.
you
Let me
jump
just-
in,
Give me
and
a
somehow
second.
you're always
Let me
a
just,
step behind.
use
It
the
turns into
bathroom,
this
grab
constant
something
chase.
to
Now, what if you
drink.
flip that?
Be
What if
right
instead
back.
of chasing the market, you started getting ahead of it? Not by guessing where it's going, but by understanding when. Because if you really think about it, this is the question that changes everything. Most traders get obsessed with price, finding the perfect level, the perfect support, the perfect resistance. But what if the real edge isn't where at all? What if it's when? And this slide right here lays that out. Two completely different ways to trade. On the left, that's reactive trading. That's chasing price, that's relying on indicators that lag, that's making emotional decisions in real time. We've all been there. On the right, that's the different game. The anticipatory trading, that's calm, that's structured, that's proactive. Because now you're following a roadmap based on time. It's the difference between being a passenger and actually being in control. And this is why it matters. A good trade isn't just price, it's three things: price, level, and time. But most traders are trying to win with just the first two. And that's why everything feels inconsistent. Time is the missing piece. But here's the reality: the market is not random, it moves with rhythm. There's a flow to it, a schedule, patterns that repeat. And once you start to see that, you stop reacting to what just happened and you start anticipating what's likely next. So the question becomes, how do you actually see that? That's where the execution clock comes in. It does one thing really well: it makes time visible. It takes something most traders feel but can't define, and it turns it into a structured roadmap you can use every day. And when you look at it, this isn't just another chart. This isn't more indicators. This is a visual guide to how the day can unfold. You'll see it clearly, defined time windows. These are the zones where highs and lows tend to form. It's clean, it's simple, and most importantly, it's actionable. Now, let's be clear. This is not a crystal ball. It's not predicting one exact outcome. The market doesn't move one way. It moves in different patterns, different rhythms. That's why the execution clock gives you four main scenarios. We'll call them series days. Think about it like a playbook. You're not guessing, you're prepared. So let's walk through them. First, series 1 day. This maps out one possible structure for the day with its own timing for highs and lows. Then you have series 2 day, different rhythm, different flow, different turning points. Next, series 3 day. Again, another variation on how the day can develop based on its own time structure. And then series 4 day. When you put it all together, you have a complete framework. You're not reacting anymore, you're prepared for how the day can unfold. And this part right here is important. On the left, you'll see the raw timing logic, the foundation. On the right, you see how that gets turned into something usable, something clean, structured, and actionable. This isn't theory. This is built for real trading. So let's bring this into the real market. How does this actually help you when you're live? Let's go through a couple of key examples. First one, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. If you trade ES or NQ, you already know the major inflection point in the morning. Now let's look at series 2 day roadmap. It highlights the window from 10 to 10:45 and right in the center time, 10:30. That's not random. That's a high probability zone for a low to form. So instead of guessing, you're prepared. You're watching for it. You're ready to react when the market gets there. Now let's move forward. 1:30 p.m., another key rotation time. Again, go to series 3 day map. Same thing. You got a defined window centered around that time. Another potential turning point. This is the edge. It's not vague, it's specific. It gives you timing, not guesses. And when you look across all four series, you'll start to notice something. These key times repeat. 10 a.m. potential lows on certain days, 11 a.m. potential highs on certain days, 2:30 midday rotation, 3:30 late day move. The clock puts all of it in front of you. So instead of reacting, you're anticipating. And that's the shift. You stop chasing. You stop guessing. You start trading with structure. You start trading with a plan. You start trading with timing on your side. And that gives you a completely different level of confidence. You're not getting faked out by every move. You're not late to everything. You're aligned. And for ES and NQ traders, This is the edge most people don't have. Not just knowing where, but knowing when. So I'll leave you with this. Think about tomorrow morning. You're logged in. Instead of staring at a blank chart, you already have a roadmap. You already know the key times, the key windows, the key opportunities. How different does that feel? Because that one shift, it changes everything. If you'd like to know more about the execution clock, go to pitbulltraders.com and click on the Trader Edge tab.
Anna asks, Manny, what hours and days are you online trading with your community? Anna, we are on Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. Anna, where are you checking in from? I know you know Jeffrey, which I think Jeffrey is amazing. I think Jeffrey's got some Jeffrey does some really good work. I'm really glad that Jeffrey's in our community. I really have a lot of respect for Jeffrey's work. And Jeffrey's a process guy. You know, Jeffrey's got a strong process. You know, he's very consistent in his approach. A lot of respect for Jeffrey. Trade 2456 asks, for an eval account, do you need a charting package or is there a free data feed? Yeah, it comes with a free data feed. Trade. It comes with a free data feed. And there's a free charting there is charting software available for it. And there's also, you know, it works on Atlas, it works on Delta Trader, which is another good one. Yeah, just go onto the website. And I just as a disclaimer for team, we're actually in the process right now of we're rebuilding out the website. It's going to be much different shortly, but okay. All right, thanks. Oz says he heard about me from Jeffrey last week. Yeah. So we're on. I'm streaming currently from Monday through Friday, from 9 a.m. to 11:30, and shortly going into next week, we will be streaming more hours. We're still working out the schedule on that, but stay tuned. It's possible we're going to have. Eventually, the idea is we're going to have three time slots a day. This is what we've been planning for a long time. We're still in the development stages of it, where we're going to have a morning show, a lunch show, and then a last hour show. So look out for that. It's in the development stage. We're still working on it. But look out for that very, very soon. And there are many times that I will jump on. You know, after we finish the stream on the live on the social media platforms, there are many times that I go on spontaneously in our private community. So the link is in the description. You can find the link there if you want to join our private community. There we have speakers on all day. So I go off at 11:30 on socials. And then today, being Monday, I believe Bo comes on at 12 o'clock in our private community. And then Tom comes back at 2 p.m. in our private community. And again, that's free to join if you click on the link in the description. Again, there is no fee for that, but you can join us there. And then we will also be extending the show to social media coming very soon. Pretty sure that the lunchtime show should be developed and working by next week. We just brought on another team member to help us out, produce the show, and kind of keep the wheels turning. That was an important part of this. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate the comments, guys. Appreciate the comments, everyone. Do me a favor, if you could just please hit that like button. It really goes a long way. We're still pretty small. We're still pretty small, but we just want to be able to, if you guys know Danny Riley is our
is our CEO and leader, and Danny Riley's always been. Danny has a great reputation, really well known in the trading space. Danny Riley is the one who wanted to kind of envision this all coming out, and it's just an extension of his vision. Danny Riley's really known, really well liked in our community, really well liked in the trading circles, and he's always been the one that's been out helping retail traders, helping smaller traders work their way around the markets, learn how to trade better, learn how to execute better. And we are just simply bringing that out of our private community now and sharing it across multiple platforms. Yep. So, yep, here you go. Let me just see. Yep. Hang tight. Stuart. All right. Looks like price is bouncing. We traded as low as 73.91, right? And that's 2 ticks shy of yesterday's volume point of control. There you go. Here's the link for that, Stuart. Thank you. All right. Look, we're bouncing. We're bouncing. We've already bounced from 91. We've bounced about 16 points off the low. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. I have to get to a meeting but we're, hang on a second. I'm sorry. Hang on a second. Manny, how do I learn more about the time clock? Thanks for the comment. Yeah. So, Nish, so we're currently wrapping up, but if you tune back in tomorrow, I'll go into the time clock. It's on for right now. It's on the X feed. I'm going to do a live stream that's dedicated to the clock, so you can learn the nuances of it all, coming very, very soon. But that's going to wrap it up for today. Seeing there's a massive iceberg now in 74.09, so heads up. Yep, watch that. But we're wrapping up for the morning. The volatility's out. All right. So again, if you've got the skill, if you're lacking the consistency, go to pitbulltraders.com and join us. Come join the private community, join the team, join the community. We're constantly sharing ideas, sharing charts, sharing setups, sharing strong mindset. Another big shout out to one of our other funded traders, Jonathan 7221. That's exactly, he's using the market blueprint. That's exactly what we wrote it out for. All right, everyone, that's going to wrap it up. You've got the levels. You have the timing. If you want to go deeper into the execution clock, you can always shoot me an email, manny@pitbulltraders.com. Remember, react, don't predict. We're going to be back on tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 11:30. Do us a favor. If you got anything out of this at all, anything, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Come join us tomorrow. Hit the notify button. We're going to be at it again tomorrow, discussing the setups, trading live with you. Enjoy your time. Thanks for joining us. Have a good one. Anna, you seem very calm and easy. I'm glued to the dial. Listen to financial juice, so miss your online time tomorrow. Yeah, so tomorrow, Anna, I'm going to be on from 9 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. I'm sorry, 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And we'll break down some of those other charts and give you some ideas on those as well.
Nish says, how do I learn about the execution clock? Nish, I'll go over it tomorrow. I have to get going. I have this. Typically, we end at 11:30. I ran a little over because I wanted to get to all the questions. But it's there. It is for today. It is posted on my feed. So go there at Manny_trends on X. You can pick up today's configuration, today's day type and configuration there. And tomorrow I will go into a little bit more about the nuances of that. But I really have to get go. I have to get going. I have to be in a meeting in about 20 minutes. So I want to make sure that I'm not late for that. And I want to try to get a little bit of food in my belly before I go into there. So, all right, team. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate the support. And see you tomorrow.